What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Dr. Nina, and I'm gonna jump right into this because I'm probably the last person on the planet to talk about this. But look, y'all be asking because some of y'all messy. In my text community, I get a lot of questions, and one of the bigger questions has been, hey, how you feel about the passing of Kevin Samuels? Like, I just want to know. A lot of people might be shocked and surprised by my null feelings about this, and when I say null, I don't know the man. He holds no weight over me. He doesn't pay any of my bills, and he's not my husband. So therefore, I have no real feelings. With that said, I don't wish death on him, but I also didn't celebrate his life. I get the bigger picture of what y'all are saying because I do try to be as real here as possible, as well as positive. I like to provide people with solutions to issues and not just criticisms. I also like to make sure that people leave here feeling empowered and feeling like they have a chance to make their lives work. So with that said, I recognized Mr. Samuels as a polarizing, self-proclaimed relationship guru. So if you've never been exposed to him, I'm gonna say take precautions if you go watch any of that content. The clips and the bits and pieces that I've been exposed to, I've found to be very extreme, very hurtful and damaging to those, especially those that are a bit more vulnerable to that. The internet doesn't necessarily have a lot of people that are always critical thinkers, and I don't expect that, so I'm not putting that down. I'm just saying a lot of people are not here trying to get full out educations. They're just trying to learn what they can learn quickly, take it, apply it if it works, and move on from it. But also they soak up a lot of information and a lot of ideas and a lot of opinions. So when a lot of negative things are said, sometimes that becomes a part of them, and especially if they're more susceptible or vulnerable. For instance, you know the whole video, the average at best video. We've all seen it.
6-figure income, jawline, all this other kind of stuff. And I'm sorry, man. No, most people get average people, especially average people. And you're an average person. I mean, let's be real. You're not running Microsoft. You got a pet grooming business. You've been making 6 figures for the last 3 years. Okay, all the eyelashes and all the hair. What do you look like under there?
In order to fully submit, I have to feel like he's in.
Well, then you're gonna die alone. How about that? Let me just cut to the chase, ma'am. You can feel like what you want to, but women like you die alone.
Or the video that talked a lot about if you've made it as a woman over 35 and you're not married yet, you're leftovers.
But if you have made it to 35 years old and you're unmarried, you are a leftover woman. A leftover woman. You are what is left. Men know that there's something likely wrong with you. Whether you want to hear it or not, I'm going to just go there with you. I'm telling you the truth that you don't want to hear. Men know that there's something likely wrong with you. But you cannot be fit in an adjustable 6 or higher, 35, unmarried. Something wrong with you.
I've also heard of a lot of other things about being a high value man, a high value woman, looks and rankings of your looks.
They're saying, beauty is subjective. That's another fallacy. Beauty is not subjective. That's why we have the beautiful people. You can map their facial structure, and it goes to a mathematical calculation.
Oh yeah.
Beauty is universal. And the thing is, we're talking about black women. They are on the opposite end of the spectrum on all ranks. Facial symmetry, even to the way black women are starting to look more masculine.
I talk about dress size, not weight.
Okay, dress size, it's still in the same correlation.
No, it's not. It is absolutely not. You can wear dress size 6 or dress size 4 and have a different body composition because muscle weighs more than fat. See, I've accounted for that.
So you do know that.
Well, look here, smart ass. I'm the fucking image consultant, and I'm about to make a real bad day for you if you don't check that smart ass mouth talking to a grown damn man. This is the last warning, young lady, and it's gonna get real bad from here.
How's it gonna get bad?
Let's get off my phone. How about that?
While it's not my cup of tea, I realize lots of people like to see that, they like to hear that. And I also feel that there were so many susceptible women that were calling the platform to get degraded even further. And let me also say this, I feel like a lot of the messages that were sent out from Mr. Samuels were to Black women. So a lot of the criticisms were not with women in general, which is also a bit of a problem. They were specifically with Black women in criticisms when lots of different races have some of the same issues, problems, and difficulties. All the clips that I've seen that have been viral, I didn't find the criticisms to be equal. I didn't see that men were equally held to standard or to task just like women were. I found that a lot of the clips that I saw were centered around women. And that's a little ick. So now we're seeing a lot of the reports of how he passed away. Like, I think it's very interesting and of note that this man was not as mainstream until his death. So you see a lot of things like People Magazine and NBC and lots of other outlets are reporting on his death, which is interesting in itself. A lesson here that we have to take on is that we have to watch who we take advice from. And I'm not exempt from that. One thing I've always told y'all is you don't know what's on the other side of the people's camera. And by that I mean, I can show you this side, it can be nice and pretty, but the other side can be a blown out hole. You don't know what people's lives are like. Some of us, you have more of the liberties of seeing some of the things, some of the fruits of their labor, some of the things that are going on. For me, people can look up my license. They can look up different things like that to know that I am what I am, that I'm an expert with credentials. However, the internet doesn't always dig deep into that. And so we're willing to follow someone that is sensational, that's viral, and that also says things that are very polarizing. I used to hear a lot of times people say things like, well, a lot of times what Kevin Samuels says is so true. I mean, everybody has a time where they're true. A clock is right twice a day. So here's the thing. It doesn't make what is said completely applicable to everybody's life, and not even to his life. I think it's interesting how the details of his life are coming out, and I don't know everything that's true or false. I just know what's been reported. I'm hearing that it's reported that he really didn't have that much money, that he was renting a apartment under someone else's name, that when he passed on with a woman that was over 30, and we know that a lot of the clips I seen is you're worthless past 30. So I don't know. I think the bigger lesson here is that we take a lot of advice from people that we don't even see living said life that they talk about. We'll take relationship advice from someone who's been twice married and twice divorced, had a situation where they owed back child support, had an estranged or strained relationship with their child, who happens to be a young woman, a Black woman. So I think a lot of times we are playing ourselves by not digging deeper and thinking more critically about the people we choose to take advice from when we say we want something. And I think this is a greater example of wanting approval and validation from people who don't necessarily even matter in your life. And I'm speaking more specifically to women right now. You have to be very careful about that. And also, I choose to, and this is me, y'all tell me how you feel about this, but I choose to be one of those people who don't necessarily congregate around what doesn't apply to me. And what I mean there is some of the messaging and the things that I heard, I realized that those were set up to psychologically wear down at you, your brain, your feet, what you're looking to do. A lot of these gurus, not just Mr. Samuels, talk a lot about women's success and being sad and dying alone. I think you have to be careful about who you apply that to. Yes, there's lots of people who desire a mate, but I also think a lot of this education that a lot of Black women are getting at this time is teaching them that they don't necessarily have to or want to settle. And they also have gotten means to live resourceful lives without being held back by people who don't think highly of them anyway. Because why? A lot of the tactics that were out there in order to hold women back from that no longer work. So what happens now is that we become more and more exuberant about telling people about how low they are and what they can get and what they deserve in life. But a lot of us just ain't going for it no more. So over here, I'm realistic with y'all. I'm going to keep it real about life and what is possible, what might not be possible, what you can try to do and get and gain, and leaning into your resiliency and reality. However, I'm also not gonna just tell you what you can and cannot do, because I'm an adopted child who came from a single parent mother, Black mother, who raised me, who only had a high school diploma at the time, who raised me to be Dr. Nina, who is a vibrant, beautiful, well-known and popular person, who didn't even meet her husband until 36 years old, who got married at 38 years old. I can't hang over there because that don't apply. If you're headed in another direction, you certainly don't need that kind of reality to hold you back. It was the delivery, it was the way it was said, it was the way in which to educate. The math wasn't mathing. And I think a lot of times now people are becoming more aware of that. So everything is not always what it seems. We see that from the way Kevin lived his life, from his associations, from allegedly dying in the arms of a stranger who didn't look like the women he was telling to be a certain way. She was a big, beautiful woman, it looks like. However, she was not what he said was the ideal. Be careful who you taking advice from. Be careful who you listening to change and alter your life. What I'm seeing is a lot of stories of people who have permanently altered their lives. A lot of these maniacs who are shooting up trains and doing other things are saying they're followers of the Manosphere and Kevin Samuels. I don't know what kind of legacy that is, but I think it's important for us to be very careful. And again, I'm not exempt. And then I hear all this stuff about, well, y'all, he was just trying to help the Black community. I think we have to be careful about saying helping people is by harming them. I think we end up doing the very same thing that has been done to us for years, especially Black women. And let me tell y'all something. I was a little bit taken aback that 75% of his viewership was women. I'm gonna tell y'all, that's where I got the chills. Y'all, we need to stay our butts out of these Manosphere streets. They for the man. Let the man have that little area, because that right there, you ain't supposed to be calling nobody that don't know you from the bottom of a shoe to tell you what they think of you, to give you a rating, to berate you, to make you feel less than. How do you think that's going to help you? And a lot of y'all knew what you were stepping into. And while I'm not blaming you, I will say it's not a great idea ever to allow someone so much power that they tell you what you're worth when they don't know you. Take that in. May Kevin Samuels' family find some healing. However, as I mentioned before, when you asked, because the questions were, how do you feel? I don't feel one way or the other. I didn't know Kevin Samuels. I knew what was posted about him, and even that I was indifferent about. So therefore, I don't wish harm on him or his family. But I mean, sometimes what goes up must come down in various different ways, and the way it comes down, we don't get to decide. What's done is done, but I will say it's pretty ironic that it is Mother's Day week, Cinco de Mayo. It's giving lots of chills and lots of things, because I think a lot of the things that were said by him, actually, he became the example. Only he's a man. So y'all, I don't know. Y'all tell me what you think about this, and I hope y'all have a really great rest of your day. Peace. Check the links in the description for my free new Dr. Nina's Mentorship Facebook group, which is a group of like-minded individuals looking to progress, grow, and support one another along the way. Thanks so much for all the love and support over on my new website. If you haven't already, go ahead and check it out and join me for new ways to interact with me, giveaways and prizes, weekly emails, as well as my free 8-day supernatural video course, which is free when you sign up.